And so when we were supposed to finish this restaurant in 8 months, it took a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
And that's very expensive.
Why aren't restaurant servers just paid the regular minimum wage and the tip becomes just an extra? So meaning like if you're paid, like if it's $15 an hour, you work a 4-hour shift, you're guaranteed of that $60, and then whatever extra you earn is just pesa kwa mfukoni. Why have restaurants resisted this?
And in addition to that, to sort of piggyback what you talked about pertaining to a server and then maybe the food runner and the bus boys and the help, and also maybe the person who also picks up the call, are they also paid would they also be given, apart from the server, are they given the minimum tip wage, or they're just given the minimum wage? So like this, the food runner, the bus boy,
they're all given tip.
Oh, they're all tipped wage. So the bus boy, the runner, the person who's picking up the call to pick up your order if it's a to-go order.
Those are all people who work for the, for tip.
So that's the minimum tip wage. Yeah. Okay.
And that's why he said that if supposedly the waiters, or I guess the wait staff, are supposed to share, right? Give a percentage of whatever that 20 is to whoever's running tables and busboying for them, and so on and so forth. But if they don't, then that's when you guys are saying give them the 5%, or how does that work?
We encourage them. In fact, but there are times when this becomes a problem. So what you do, you just take the 5% and give it, but you have to do it transparently.
Correct.
Make sure this money is not leaving here and going somewhere else. It goes to this person. But I also want to tell you, there are also different arrangements. Huh? You've gone to bars where they have that tip share.
Yeah, a big thing. Yeah, everybody throws in there, and then at the end they divide.
So, like I see how Meron sometimes works with the Pasura, and they all have
a big
and they're happy to do it like that. That arrangement, we don't get into it. The management does not.
So it's whatever they
this is their arrangement.
Okay.
So when they're done, we don't ask them for. They know how to sort themselves out. But remember, there's the ones that come from the credit card.
Correct.
So now that is where now you come back and we will audit you and say, okay, this is yours. There's a barback who was supporting you.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to bring you, fill the ice and clean. All those. They need the support. Trust me. They do need the support.
But
is
then,
very critical.
Yeah, but then I've always wondered why don't restaurants want to pay
a flat X per hour
for consistency and for predictability, because I've not worked in a restaurant before, but I don't know how I'd feel if I go to work in a place where my wage is unpredictable. I'm not sure if I'm gonna earn $20 or $150. Why is this a restaurant that I feel? Why is this an idea that I feel restaurants have resisted?
I can see why, especially in America. Do you know in Europe, this is not a problem. Europe
no, it's not an issue.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And, so of course,
and in some American states.
And in Kenya too.
And in some American states. There's some
I didn't
states,
know about the American states.
Yes,
this is trying to get there now.
This is trying to get there. I think the states like, believe California, I can't remember, there's like 7 states in the US that have mandated, and I think Nevada is one of those states that have mandated, the restaurants to pay all the employees at least the minimum wage,
and then take away the free the option for you to tip that's given now to the customer, right?
Yeah, that's given to the customer.
Which has always been the case. If in a particular market, people are inclined to know that tipping is part of the culture.
Yeah.
Now it's a difficult question, and I've worked out my numbers as a restaurateur. And it becomes where it can be very difficult to sustain a restaurant. Because remember, front of house is the highest number of employees you have at any given shift. And many times, remember, what you see on the floor is maybe the second shift, and there could be a third shift. If you were to pay today, if DC mandated minimum wage for our restaurant,
servers,
for our restaurant, I will seriously consider closing that restaurant down.
Wow, so it's that serious?
Yes.
Or because of what?
I
Because
will-
of their high.
Chances are that I will have to come to that decision that this is not worth it.
But won't you
And
know
they're,
like
and they're going there.
yeah.
They're slowly,
Mm-hmm.
very carefully, and they're listening to us.
Restaurateurs.
And I hope that by the time they get there, they will all have agreed on how to do this.
To
Okay.
compensate.
Yeah, because it's front of house is heavy. It's very heavy.
It's a heavy cost on the business.
Very heavy cost on the
Okay.
business.
Yeah, because the states that I'm seeing here, they mentioned Alaska, California, Minnesota, Nevada, Oregon, Washington State, and District of Columbia is also included. Although, like you said, District of Columbia is getting there progressively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think currently, I don't know whether it's at 14. It's still at very high compared to most other states.
DC cost of doing business. This is very expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you that.
Okay, all right. And as we get close here to wrapping up, there was also an issue that again we have to go back to that allegation where there was an issue about sick leave, and we know that DC law stipulates that for employers with over 100 employees, you must provide an hour for every 37 hours worked for up to a minimum of 7 days of paid sick leave in a calendar year. And then I think that's where Swahili Village is. And then for employers with workers between 25 to 99, it's an hour for every 43 hours up to a maximum of 5 days sick leave. Now, the paid sick leave, as required by DC law, when employees are injured or sick or rather, so again, for Swahili Village, or rather the allegation said Swahili Village DC never provided employees with any paid sick leave as required by DC law. When employees were injured or sick, including with COVID-19, and were not paid and were often verbally reprimanded for missing work. Other employees came to work while sick or injured because they could not afford to stay home without pay. And of course, you've responded to this on the suit, and you're also denying this allegation. But was this, for this particular allegation, did this one also come as a surprise, after you got your subpoena, that some employees were saying that they were not being given sick leave, they were being forced to kind of come to work while sick?
It was surprising. It was, surprised. But like we say, we answered to that allegation. We have a public record to deny that that allegation, just like all the other ones that were presented. I would say this though. That COVID time, many business people will tell you, was a very trying time. It came with its own rules, and it came with its own ways of challenging businesses. And I give kudos to those who managed to survive COVID.
Yes, COVID was a really tough, was a
Yes.
really tough time for all
Yes,
businesses.
It was a very, very tough moment. I remember we were looking forward to a really good launch. The president at the time, Uhuru Kenyatta, came, and we were excited about this new opportunity on downtown DC, on the heart of the diplomacy corridor. We've invested millions of dollars in that place. That place was difficult because we are underground.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're underground,
Indoors.
we could only work at night because we have 10
Tenants.
floors up.
Yeah,
these tenants cannot
yeah,
be
during
there
the day,
during
yeah.
the day, then you're
Yeah,
hammering away.
hammering, yeah, jackknife,
So the
yeah.
work was only done at night. And you know how difficult it is to navigate DC and do that. And so when we were supposed to finish this restaurant in 6-8 months, it took a year and a half.
Mm.
Oh wow.
And that's very expensive. So it also meant that we missed on the government incentives. Like we did not get PPP for downtown district.
I was going to ask
and
that.
and
But
why
I
and
saw
why
that.
was that?
Because there was a language that stipulated when you could be able to qualify for it, and by the time we launched and the time that we were not able to qualify for PPP. And
You hadn't been open long enough, right?
This restaurant has not benefited from any help from anywhere. I would say, save for a 6,000 grant that I think we got because of something, we've had to tough this out on our own, and it was a restaurant that should have qualified for almost $500,000, maybe more, from PPP, and
Wow.
we didn't
But
qualify.
even with that, you guys were still giving food to. You
Yeah.
were taking food to the hospitals
I mean-
around. You guys were cooking, and you were kind of open with a skeleton crew for just takeout. It seemed.
Yeah, but you see, so we were ready for a restaurant. When you launch a restaurant,
Correct.
you're opening orders. You buy inventory,
Yes.
and we had a lot of inventory, produce, meats, and fish, and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things, and dry goods as well.
Yeah.
But now you've been told you've shut down.
Mm.
So I turned around and said, well, the best thing to do with this food is to cook it and give it to first responders. It was really bad. The district was really struggling. So we just cooked all that food. It was almost 40,000 worth of food we had to give away. And we gave it to firefighters. We gave it to police
Nurses,
officers.
all
We
that,
gave
yeah.
it to nurses.
Yeah.
It was just what you had to do. I mean, short of that, you trash it.